In Scottsdale, Arizona, with Patrick and Carrie Antrim. Live today in Multifamily.
Hey guys, welcome to the show.
Yes, welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, here we are. I've got comments here over on LinkedIn. You're on YouTube.
I'm on all
Facebook,
of them.
Twitter, all that stuff, and our live cast page. So welcome to the show. My name is Patrick Antrim. This is Carrie Antrim, and you're joining us live in our studio in Scottsdale, Arizona for the Today in Multifamily Show. So welcome.
We're so glad you're here. Thanks for taking time to join us this morning. How are you, Patrick?
I'm doing good. Today was an eventful morning, but I stopped in for my Starbucks. And,
I heard there was a long line.
We're getting better and better at the show. We're getting more organized.
We are.
We're having some fun with it.
We are. Yeah. If you're watching live, please comment. Tell us where you are, what you're doing, what's exciting. We monitor these comments a little bit during the show. We do read all of them afterwards, and we get back to you.
Yeah, so if you're watching live, comment below, tell us where you're watching from, like Carrie said. But if you're on the replay, hit replay in the hashtag so we can learn about you too. So we'll engage with you all week leading up to the next show.
All right, that sounds good.
All right.
So, what are we doing? What's up?
Well, we should welcome our new viewers. We have some things we need to tell them. We've got some exciting things today. We're talking today, upcoming in the show, about how to rent more apartments, how to get more clients, and how to solve the industry talent problems, how you can do that without spending a fortune. So that's an exciting thing that stay tuned for. That'll be upcoming in the show.
Yeah.
And so if you want to just share this, we're trying to re-envision the way you get information and content around multifamily and really around the world. So share this with a friend, tag them in the comments, say hello. I see that
use the
Felicity
hashtag.
is tuning in.
Oh,
so
Felicity.
I want to just say hello to
Felicity.
Felicity. She's over there on LinkedIn. Hi, Felicity. Thanks for stopping in, and can't wait to have you back on the show for some things you're working on.
Absolutely.
I think she's going to like Amsterdam and
She's
London
going all over the place.
South by Southwest.
Yes. Very excited with what she's doing.
So fun stuff. So
yeah.
we'll have her on the next show too.
I don't know if you mentioned or not, but use the hashtag Multifamily Live. Share us, and let's get started. What are we doing today on the show? We've got some exciting stuff today. We have a rendezvous interview, is what we call it, with Lindsay Haley, who is our keynote speaker at the Women's Summit. So we've got that coming up. That'll be exciting. All right.
In the know? You want to roll with in the know?
Well, yeah, since we're talking about the Women's Summit, let's talk a little more about that. We I just mentioned Lindsay is our keynote speaker. Lindsay is a writer, a director, she's a comedian, she's a thought leader. She's also, I'll let her tell, I don't want to spoil everything, so I'll let her tell you more about herself, but we're going to interview her here in just a moment.
Awesome, and we've got Valerie tuning in on LinkedIn. We've got some other people on Boston.
Oh, we've got Boston in the house.
Yeah, live.multifamilystudios.com. Should we talk to them about the submitting the news and stuff like that, or is that later in the show?
Well, we can do that now too. So we want your good news. I know we say this every episode, but if you're new, this is new information. If you go to live.multifamilystudios.com, you scroll down to the bottom, it says submit news. Click there. Give me your good news. We want to know what's going on. That's great. We want to know who's getting hired, who's getting promoted, what awards are you, we know you're winning awards, tell us about it. What social outreach are you doing? Tell us about that. We want to know, the fun things that your teams are doing that make your organization a great place.
Yep.
So
awesome.
And then it gets featured on this show. I didn't say that part.
Right.
But when you submit your news, our team goes through it and they give us the best of the best, and you get featured on the show.
Wonderful. So are we at the in the know, or did we already cover that?
Well, we're going to do the
all right. So
the interview.
All right. Let's roll.
I believe we have
Should
Lindsay
we go to
ready.
Lindsay?
Yeah, we have. I think we're going to start with a highlight reel.
Can you hold on 1 minute, Dr. Panette? Oh, no problem. Is that about the lice that's been going around? I hear Becky's kids have.
Right.
So we're going to try and get Lindsay on satellite.
Yeah, we're gonna get Lindsay on
that.
satellite. So while we're doing that, we can go ahead and I'm excited to announce some more speakers for the summit. The first one is Jana Frazier, and I am so pleased that we're going to have Jana. Jana works with IMT Residential.
Right.
Jana has been to every summit,
Correct.
and it is very exciting this year because IMT is only company to have made the best places to work in multifamily for 5 years straight.
It's one thing to make the list. It's also one thing to stay on the list.
Stay on the
Definitely
list.
That's, it gets harder and harder as the levels of engagement keep increasing. But that's an
Absolutely.
incredible honor. We're proud to have Jana speak at the summit. And then we'll be doing a show on IMT, so
Yes.
we'll be doing that too.
We will. They're also going to find out how they rank on the best places to work in multifamily for women at the summit. So that's really exciting. We're excited to have Jana. We also have Jamie, who's the Regional Vice President of Learning and Talent Development for Lincoln Property Company. We spoke to Jamie. She reached out to us. We've had a couple of conversations with her. I'm so excited to have her as part of the show.
Yeah, wow, what a great leader. And for a big company.
Yes.
Doing some great things. Definitely a big role.
Mm-hmm.
And the content that she's organized is so exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for people to tune in for that.
Yeah, that's going to be great. We also have Stacy Stemmen, Senior Vice President, Corporate Marketing and Development of Pasco Companies. Pasco is one of our best places to work companies. Stacy is doing great things. We're going to talk a little bit more about Stacy in a few minutes here towards the end of the show. But we're excited to have her. And
who's next?
Next is Diane Bataya with Village Green, CEO of Village Green. Diane spoke at our November Innovation Summit and just absolutely crushed it. I mean, she brought such good wisdom and experience. I think she's just going to kill it at the Women's Summit. She's going to be amazing. I cannot wait.
Wow, yeah, I can't wait either. Let's see. Do we want to try and go to Lindsay? Are we able to get Lindsay in our studio?
We can see if we can get her.
All right,
Hi.
Lindsay.
I can
Hi,
see her
Lindsay.
and I can hear her.
You are us?
All right, well, here we go. How are you?
I'm doing really well, thank you. How are you guys today?
We're great. And you're calling in from LA, is that correct?
Los Angeles, baby.
All right, love it. So we couldn't be more excited to have you at the summit.
Likewise, I'm the CEO of comedy. I just heard the lineup as I was listening to you, so I just wanted to throw in my accolades there.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. Did you just get a promotion? I heard. Yeah.
I promoted myself. Yeah.
Well, that works then.
I just wanted everyone to know I was qualified to be there.
Well, of course.
Yeah, I'm CEO of just comedy.
In general, of the world. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
of the world.
Yeah. That
Feel like
sounds
it's
legit.
It's a fair statement.
Yeah. So we've talked, obviously, and you had mentioned that one of the fundamentals in your work is this yes and.
Yes,
Right.
it is.
So how can you relate that yes and to business?
Well, I've had the great fortune of going to a number of corporations, abroad, overseas, and what we seem to be finding with that is that it promotes collaboration, quite obviously. The fundamental principle there is that you're trying to increase momentum. So when someone presents you with an idea, you're always going to yes and it. So in improv, we say everyone is an artist, a genius, and a poet. Every idea, every concept they bring to the table is valuable. And it's our job on the receiving end to yes and that sentiment or that moment, whatever it might be. And so as you can see, as it's relating to business, when we go and we work with big corporations, sometimes specifically in marketing context or team building context, maybe teams aren't collaborating well together, or there's a stifling of momentum before ideas get dispensed, or people aren't feeling heard or listened to in that process. And so this yes and, as it relates to business, seems to really be helping corporations communicate more effectively. And I know the summit this year is about innovation and using that creativity to become the innovator, to build on that momentum. I feel like how improv can sort of slot into your conversation is, how do you become innovative in general? So like, we use the buzzword innovation all the time, but what does it take to actually be an innovator? What are your soft skills there as far as listening and actual effective communication with your teammates? So
that's interesting. And innovation oftentimes is about taking risks, and sometimes people that are working inside organizations, they have one flow of income, and so taking a risk at a company is oftentimes hard because you don't want to risk, your job in corporate America. It's about it's like making problems go away, not creating new problems, but that is part of innovation. So how do you become a yes and type of person without being sort of a yes person, like a yes man, right? So
that's such a beautiful question. We talk about it in terms of yes anding the intention of in my world, of your scene partner, so your coworkers. So it's hearing what they really want. And obviously you could apply this to residents as well, like really listening to your residents, like what are their actual needs, and making sure you hear the truth instead of what they're saying, which is a trick. And so we say as improvisers, we're the best listeners in the entire world, because it's our job to stay ahead of the audience, to make sure that we're hearing what's being said between the lines, or reading between the lines. So when you're doing that, the real yes and can actually become a no in a lot of cases. Meaning, if you're following someone's intention for something versus just agreeing to everything, that's where the distinction lies.
Yeah. Well, gosh, I can't wait for the talk.
No, I can't either. And I have to say, we've watched your highlight reel, a couple of times now, and we laugh so hard every time. I can't tell you, Ted's cookies in the break room. I don't know a single person who's had a corporate job who hasn't been in that situation. Usually it's like the birthday cake.
Well, for me, it's the lady that comes to the door, right? The phone rings, and it's like, I know there's a lot of property managers out there that's the resident coming to the office.
Oh yeah, they're trying to
hold on.
So the yes and there, you have to yes and yourself first.
Yes.
So obviously in that case, she's yes anding her intention to stay in the house and not really commune with her neighbor in that moment.
Yes.
So she's yes anding her own desires.
Yeah, I
That's
love
hilarious.
it. I love it. That's great.
Wonderful, wonderful. So what else, Carrie?
Well, go for it.
Go for it. Okay, well.
we're improving
any
here.
final thought? Yeah, improving.
There's proof that we have not planned this. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's certainly wonderful for you to join us here live. And again, we can't wait to see what you bring to the summit, and we'll look forward to seeing you there.
Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to be there. So
All right.
Thank you, Lindsay.
We'll see you.
See you soon.
That's fun. That's fun.
Yeah.
So let's maybe we should go right to the buzz on the biz.
Okay.
And I know that some fun stuff is happening over there. There's a transaction I wanted to kind of point out. So Buzz, the biz is the media's, the multifamily industry's largest media site, and over there, a new release has been, American Landmark Apartments has announced it plans to acquire another $1.5 to $2 billion in properties in 2020. Now, this is bringing their current portfolio of 33,000 units to nearly 44,000 units in a year. Now, that's definitely a lot of growth.
Yeah.
With growth comes, meeting new challenges, hiring new people. Every time you bring on one new property, it's, you have to find new people and transitions, maybe it's development. There's a lot of process going on there. So it's an exciting time to be in multifamily. Great things over there. Now, Joe Lubbock, the CEO of American Landmark Apartments, was talking about how he's driving returns with their disciplined approach on workforce housing. And they have these sort of special off-market transactions. That's what they're getting, these exceptional returns for their investors. But most of that's coming from really that retirees and the seniors entering that workforce. So they're in that Sunbelt state or marketplace, and growth is always good for multifamily. So congratulations to you guys. Big things to come there. Excited to have you there. So what I would like to do is, a lot of the people tuning in today, we promised them a little bit about how to rent more apartments.
Yes.
How to get more clients.
Without
and
spending
really solving your talent problems or challenges,
Right.
finding people, all those things without spending a fortune. Because a lot of times people want to, you have a problem to solve. It's like, what check can I write to solve it? And so I'm going to give you some strategies here today that we've learned through our process and what we've done in our business beyond and research I've done. So what I'd like to talk about is, first, Carrie, I'm going to go with you on this, is do you watch movies?
I do. I love to watch movies.
Okay. So you're a Netflix subscriber.
I am a Netflix
that's
subscriber.
Easy. That's easy. I knew that already.
You know.
So what do we know about the movies?
Oh,
what
man.
What do you think about the movies?
Well, the movies tell a story. They transport you, to a different time, a different place. They, depending on the type of movie, they make you feel a certain way. If it's a comedy, you're going to laugh. If it's, there's a, gazillion true stories out there.
Scary movies?
That tell stories that you might not have heard before, about these people doing great things in the world. Yes, there's scary movies too. I was a big scary movie kid, but not so much in my
So when we watched the Lady Gaga
years.
documentary, what did
That was really interesting for me because I didn't have. I mean, I of course know Lady Gaga as her celebrity, but I wouldn't have said that I was like a big fan or anything.
Right.
But then we watched her documentary, and you really get to know the story behind the person. You see what you see on TV, and I'm sure the documentaries are only going to portray what they want you to see also. But it gives you kind of a deeper story into who that person is. And there's lots of documentaries, that we've watched that just highlight things we've never known before,
Yeah, and all the work going into, that was the Super Bowl one, right?
They talked about the Super Bowl in that one, her Super Bowl performance.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm trying to get to is, when we're talking about attracting more residents to an apartment community, if you're a vendor, industry partner, and you're trying to get more clients, or you really need to tell the brand story to get people to work for you, that people remember lyrics, song lyrics. People remember stories. People remember where they were when they watched,
Absolutely.
16 Candles or whatever.
I think you're aging us.
Well, I didn't watch that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Anyway, so what I'd like to do is really dive down deep into the idea of story and what it takes. So if you think about what happens before somebody becomes a resident, before somebody becomes a client, or before somebody becomes an employee, there's a transfer of knowledge, right? And so back in the day, we would transfer knowledge by writing a reader ad in the newspaper or a job posting, and we'd transfer the knowledge. Here's what we need, and here's what we need you to do. Or perhaps it was a web demo or a vendor at a trade show, signs, flyers, handouts, whatever it is. But they're basically trying to transfer the knowledge of how interacting with the brand would improve the life of the customer or the person experiencing it. And so when you think about how you engage with content today, think about video. Think about the power of video to really build authenticity, to create binge-worthy experiences where people can tune in and not get all the information at once, but then also think about how quickly the world is moving, right? So before, we always say we can't find people in the apartment industry, and I can tell you that's only because we're not telling the story correctly, right? And so there's just more noise. There's more places to do that. Before, we just have to call our for rent rep and tell them, hey, we need somebody, and by nature of reputation and referrals, they would return somebody as a referral. But now you've got to be everywhere. You've got to be on YouTube, you've got to be on LinkedIn, you've got to be on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, all the different things that are engaging people. Now, here's the interesting thing, and I'm going to dive right into really the recruiting piece first, which is, some brands out there are doing some really great things. Now, we've learned this by doing the research on national management companies through our Best Places to Work multifamily program. There are some really great companies out there that make the list, and even those that don't make the list, that if they told a better story, other people that aren't even looking for a job would want to be part of that company. In other words, we need to unlock the things that we're doing great, document those as like a journey. Here today in the office, I'm meeting with my regional manager because we're talking about the growth of these new properties we're bringing on our portfolio. And the exciting thing with that is I get to bring on new hires and bring on people, and what we do the first day that they're here is we get the team together and we onboard them, and here's the technology we use, and all of a sudden people are, number one, you're actually helping others in the industry solve their recruiting challenges, but secondly, you're showing leaders that are maybe had a bad day, maybe you're frustrated, maybe their portfolio sold and they have nowhere to go next. Now you're giving them an opportunity to say, hey, I want to be involved with a company like that. I love what they believe in. I love where they're going. I love that they're using modern technology to introduce new opportunities. So I think that's one of the things that we've got to really step back and think about. How can we use video to transfer the knowledge of whatever problem that you have? So let's talk more specifically about getting a new client. Let's say you have a new innovation, right? You have this new app, this new thing that can actually help people, right? Imagine that. You have a technology that can reduce friction for the customer for one of your management companies. You have an app or a solution that can save them thousands or millions of dollars by minimizing risk or liabilities. You have something that can give them the opportunity to make that management company score a huge win with their investors, because you know that if they just bought your thing, that they would increase revenue or net operating income 10 times. And as a result of that, they would have more trust with their partners, capital partners, operators, and they would scale their business. And you truly care about your clients, so you need to get the message out there. So what are you doing now? Well, you're probably exhibiting at trade shows, and that's fine, and that works, and I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying that there's other ways to get involved in introducing products and brands. Again, going back to what you do, think about what you do to learn. You go to YouTube, you go to Google. If you're learning a recipe, how to cook a steak, whatever it might be, you're searching for that. So here's an opportunity that if you're a vendor, industry partner, and you don't have the thousands and thousands and 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, $200,000 to go and exhibit, fly around the country and introduce a product, what you do is you start thinking about your problems that your customers have. You start thinking about the opportunities that you can solve for them. You start creating content that starts knocking down those challenges they have. They're going to be in research mode. They're going to be searching, how do I bring on smart home technology? How do I think about smart home technology? What should I be doing, Wi-Fi or Z? All the different things that happen with those things. It could be, should I be advertising on Craigslist today? Whatever the thing that you think your customer problem is, create content that solves for that. Now you have an opportunity where you're creating value for your ideal client, and that ideal client is then reaching out to you organically. And guess what? You don't need to leave your office. You don't need to travel around. You don't need to wait a year to introduce a product at a trade show. You can do that now. So that's a couple of things for how to do that. We talked about how to get more employees and the talent solution. We talked about a little bit about the vendor stuff, and now let's talk a little bit about the residents. So same thing with the residents, right? You want more residents to come in and rent at your communities, because that drives income. And by the way, this is a problem for everybody in the organization, right? Not just the leasing agents. The revenue solves all business problems, allows us to reinvest the capital and attract more investors. So you've got to understand that this is a sales organization that we run. So if you're running a sales organization, doesn't it make sense to use story and words and emotions to get people excited about not just your property, but the community that you've built this property in or that you manage in? So you can do some fun things with telling stories about, hey, this is a great restaurant in town. This is a great city civic center. They have an arts district. There's biking trails. You can tell stories that your content comes into that channel where people are interested in biking. They're interested in storytelling in art at the civic center. Maybe they're interested in something going on at the library, whatever it might be. But you can create that content right from your smartphone. You have literally a media company right in your pocket, and you can attract the ideal resident into your community. Now, these are the things, if I'm a leasing agent, this is how your roles are going to be re-envisioned. You've heard people say that automation and technology is going to reinvent the roles. Well, this is an opportunity to use proven what we know has worked for the movies. And what is that? You need to have action in a movie, right? You need to have details and emotion. If you look at the story of how to put things together, if that's a Ford commercial, it's, the truck's moving up the hill, the Jeep is going up the hill. There's the details of the finance terms and what's involved, right? And there's the emotion of what it feels like to be out on the open road and those types of things. So think about bringing action, details, and emotion into the content you create to tell the story about your community, but also about your apartments, right? Not only the apartment community, but the apartments itself. What's it going to be like living here? How does it look when you drive in at night? The palm trees are lit up. It looks beautiful. Tell those stories, and you're going to get people emotionally involved, and you're going to get people that may not even want or be looking for an apartment. These are the, in recruiting, we call that the passive job seeker. These are the people that are most likely going to win for your organization because they're not leaving a job, frustrated with a job, they're winning where they are, and they're looking at your opportunity because you've attracted them to your company. Well, it's the same for residents. Maybe you've got somebody that's a homeowner, and you know what, they just had a water leak, and they've got a little bit of pain and agitation in their life, but you've painted a lifestyle story and where they can now think about renting when they would never have thought about going to a search engine to look and hunt for an apartment. So stories are very powerful. I definitely think that there are ways that you can use story and video to help you get more rentals at your apartment community, to help you get more clients if you're a vendor industry partner, and also to help you get more employees to ultimately solve all of these challenges with great people. That was a lot of words. I tried to go quick, but
no, that was great. I think that was very valuable.
Yeah.
So what story are you telling?
Well, the story, but you're asking me.
I'm
we
asking
need to ask
you.
the audience that.
Oh, okay.
What story are you guys telling? So I want you to put in the comments, like, we're telling the story of brand, we're telling the story of lifestyle, we're telling the story of, a great, company, whatever that is. I'd love to hear what stories you guys are telling. But for me, the story we're telling is that everything that we're doing in our business is where everything is going.
Absolutely.
That's really the story.
It is.
So question what you're doing. How are you engaging, trying to introduce a product? How are you trying to get your information to go to the next level? Before it was, I had to wait for my company to buy a training platform to get trained. And then sometimes I go to the local apartment associations or I go to a seminar. And the reality is they've been more focused on management and training on jobs that probably won't exist in the multiple years ahead. So the question is, if you're listening and you're tuning in and you want to be part of where multifamily is going, and part of everything that we're doing is sort of where everything is going in terms of content, and it's not just us. Look at Netflix, right? Look at Disney Plus. Look at Apple. Apple launched Apple Arcade subscription. So now they're
I haven't even heard of that.
You're hearing for it live right now. So that's pretty cool, right?
Wow.
So that means video games are subscription. You don't have to go buy a $140 video game, and so and they're constantly bringing in new content. And so,
interesting.
Look, we've got a platform that can truly help and change your life not because of us, but because of who we're bringing into the channel.
Right.
We're interviewing people that are out there winning, doing some great things, and we're having some fun with it. So that's the story you asked, and that's the story we're telling. So in terms of stories, there's some good things happening in multifamily. You want to move to our segment on the good happenings?
I do. So we have some good news this week. We have good news every week. Like I've said previously, we love good news. So why not spread it around? I mentioned earlier in the show, we talked about Stacy Stemmen with Pasco Companies as one of our speakers at the Women's Summit. She announced some very good news. She is hosting the 9th Annual Spire Awards. And not only is she hosting, but she also secured Will Ferrell as the keynote speaker, which I thought
Stacey.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I want a selfie with that one.
Yeah, right.
Not me, but I mean.
Yeah, we'll see her
should,
selfies with Will Ferrell. I think that's going to be great. That is a crew function, a crew in Orange County. So that'll be great.
So what is crew?
Commercial real estate
for women.
For
right?
women,
That's
yes,
awesome.
absolutely, yeah. And Stacy's obviously heavily involved in that, and we're just following her success because she's just
wonderful.
Yeah, she's great.
That's wonderful. That's a great organization. We don't, that's all encompassing, really. Even and you've got industrial, office, and all the aspects of women doing great things in commercial real estate. So good stuff with that. And by the way, what you notice is we're not afraid to promote other brands and events. We don't have competition because we're making a global impact on what you're doing in multifamily. So I'm excited to think differently on that.
Yeah.
So
we've also got some good news from Checkpoint ID.
Yes.
They were named number 1 there on that 2020 Best Tech Startups in Carrollton. So that is really exciting.
A lot of good things. That seems to be a tech hub.
I think so, yeah.
For innovative brands, probably their access to talent, developers, and all the things there. But good things happening with Checkpoint. Check them out. I think it's checkpointid.com. Yeah. They actually were one of our sponsors, so we will disclose that. But hey, they have some great news, so we're going to amplify that. So go see Checkpoint, see what they're up to.
We also have a new hire here, Milos Kozamora, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. If not, I apologize. But 29th Street Capital expands asset management team with the addition of Milos.
Yeah, great news there. Again, just you're seeing a trend that people are starting to really understand that, instead of just promoting the property, they're starting to talk about the people that are creating the wins for them.
Right.
This is another example of, again, that's a little bit of telling the story, and that's for people that read, which is awesome, and definitely want to get more good news and more shout outs like that. So thank you for submitting that.
So just like you saw there, if you have a press release, we've played videos. If you have a fun corporate company video, whatever it is, send it to us. Click the link at the bottom of live.multifamilystudios.com. It says submit news. We want your good news. Send it to me. Send it through the website, however you want to get it to us.
Yes, absolutely. So with that, listen, I just want to thank you guys all for watching. I know it's been a great week. We've got next week to look forward to. Yeah. So stay tuned. Drop us a note in the comments. If you're watching this on the replay, hit #replay, and we'll make sure that we respond to you and say hello. So until next time, I'm Patrick Antrim. This is Carrie Antrim today in Multifamily. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, everyone.